All right, I am extremely frustrated. My phone didn't work last week, so I figured certainly a desktop or laptop would work this week. So I had all of that in order and ready to go, and come to find out, neither of those work. Only phones work, which is a strange setup. And so I tried my phone, and no luck. It keeps kicking me out to the browser, asking if I want to use the app. I click yes to use the app. But the moment I click listen live, it kicks me back out to the browser in an infinite loop. So I'm going to have to figure this out within this next week to be able to speak in the future. Quite the headache. But what I wanted to do at the very least is give some addendum or add-on of my own. Just a few thoughts I wanted to share is that first off, it's good to finally talk, and apologies for my inability to jump on last week. But much respect and appreciation to Arval for managing things so well, regardless. First off, there was a bit of talk last week hinting that a small handful of people thought the meeting might be a one-time thing. I just wanted to make clear that there was about a 0% chance we'd have been able to accomplish much of anything in a single discussion, no matter who was involved or how flawlessly it might have gone. The key here, of course, will be consistent, ongoing discussion. We're taking the first few steps of a much larger project and conception and journey, and it'll definitely take some time for things to take ideal shape. If we'd like these efforts to be as successful as they're able to be, I think we can probably simplify our efforts down to two main goals. The first is to aim to make each meeting slightly more efficient or fruitful than the last, accomplishing more or becoming better organized and focused. And the second is to simply stick with it. It's obvious how much energy and enthusiasm there is from those who agree that something like this needs to happen and needs to happen relatively quickly. So if we're able to create an environment over time that's both engaging and productive, I think we'll naturally draw more and more of this energy our way, and good things will just naturally result. And in regard to the message I posted about a week ago to try to slightly reorient expectations as far as my role, I wanted to make absolutely clear that I'm certainly not backing away from this effort in any way, far from it, and actually the opposite. I so want to see it succeed that I feel like it needs ideal individuals playing the roles best suited to them and their strengths. And from the start, I'd been trying to subtly stress the point that I don't think I'd be ideal long-term in the more social and organizing roles, at least right now. Pulling back our perspective a bit, there's been quite a bit of debate as to which should come first, whether we need a firm cultural or even spiritual foundation before any parallel community building even begins to happen, or whether all of this parallel structure should happen first, and this cultural and spiritual and philosophical foundation will spring up as a result. I don't think there are any extremely clear answers here, and I think both are extremely important. My hope and my goal is to do whatever I'm able on both fronts. For example, I have some incredibly important elements of history I feel like I need to share, because, of course, it's by understanding where we've been and who we've been that helps us best understand where we are, who we are, and where we should ideally head. So at the moment, I'm intently focused on the next few creative projects. And to be honest, knowing myself, I'm not great at splitting that focus, and I hope this makes some sense. So my hope is that others will continue to step up as these weekly discussions begin to take firmer shape in coming weeks. I view this as one facet of a much larger effort, or project or goal, granted an extremely important one, and one that really needs to happen fairly quickly as we're able, but one that will be helped along by our increasingly being on the same page with regard to our understanding of our past, and, at least to some degree, our ideal future. Again, I hope this makes some sense and that I'm not disappointing anyone here. My foremost goal is simply to see this succeed and make as much progress as possible toward that broadest of all goals. Also, a point I was trying to make in a few tweets just after the last space, and I'm not sure if I made it well or as clearly as I'd have liked. Tweets are limiting in that way. Is that we shouldn't completely neglect the idea that these spaces also need to be a friendly, comfortable, inviting environment, and a place that people look forward to being. And of course, it's quite the art balancing this off against these discussions being fruitful, concise, and efficient. So I suppose I'm just making the point that both are important, and, in my view, very much connected and intertwined. The one has much to do with the other. The survey and questionnaire that's been put together looks very good, and I encourage everyone interested in truly participating to give it a look and hopefully fill it out. And if you think there might be a worthwhile question worthy of addition, please do let us know. But the questions there at the moment cover quite a bit of ground, and will definitely help organize and add structure and a bit of clarity to what we're attempting here. Another comment I wanted to make while I have everyone's ear. I think we actually have a tendency to think a bit too small in these arenas with regard to what's possible, and have our sense of possibilities constrained accordingly. One area in particular is the financial. It's important that everyone understand that there are, and will be in the future, several individuals with a significant amount of wealth or investment capital in our, let's say, broader ideological circles, and a very real desire to use it in ways that might do the most fundamental good. If we're able to clearly lay out a plan that might allow them to do this, and especially a plan in which their dollar might go extremely far and accomplish a great deal relative to any other philanthropic path, and especially if we might find a way that short or mid-term investments in these spheres might yield impressive longer-term results, when coupled with the enthusiastic hard work and highly skilled labor forces we could help muster, I have no doubt that we're capable of doing some big things. I say this only to make the point that if we can develop a solid game plan, one with obvious value, and one in which we have all of the other puzzle pieces necessary to make it work, we can and will find the capital. In other words, this won't be the one missing puzzle piece that holds us back from moving forward. I'm all but certain of this, based on personal outreach alone. And one last comment, something I hope we'll all try to keep in mind. This isn't just a means for us to secure land, or just a means for us to secure greater independence, to prevent our being wholly reliant on forces and institutions that so clearly seem to hate us, or just a means for us to be prepared in the event of genuine societal collapse. It isn't just a means for us to begin establishing our own cultures, our own system of education, our own markets and market forces. It isn't just a means to establish greater unity and organization amongst good people in environments in which we can think and speak more freely and pursue healthier aims. It isn't any one of these things, but it's all of them, and so many more. I can't stress enough how much of a net positive I feel this would be in so many senses and spheres and contexts. This pendulum that has been swinging in the direction of obliterating our personal power and agency for decades now would likely, finally, begin to move in the opposite direction. And such parallel communities might begin to act as a draw for all the right sorts of people. And not just grow and expand, but do so in a way in which we're bringing in many of the best and brightest, and figuratively barring the door to those with more nefarious and parasitic aims. In thinking about these issues so often for so many years, this is one of the few, quote, solutions that just seemed so obviously net positive from every angle and in just about every conceivable way. And I just wanted to share this in case I didn't make it clear enough in past videos and audiocasts. This seems to be a direction we can walk without fears of wasted energy or effort, or fears of efforts accomplishing nothing, or backfiring, or doing more harm than good. It just so obviously checks so many boxes and has such immense potential. I know this can be difficult for some to sense in the earliest stages of something like this, but I just wanted to share my thoughts to hopefully help a bit in this regard. I couldn't believe any more strongly in what we're taking the first steps toward here, and I hope many of you feel the same, or at least perhaps will soon. And thank you. Apologies again. This was deeply frustrating, but hopefully this audio helps add a bit of context, and perhaps it was good that I didn't interrupt what seems to be a good discussion. And I'm going to tune back in and listen to the rest, and then post this audio, hopefully just after, and figure out something better for the future. Thank you.